Unit 5, Right Triangles. Preview video 5.2, Part 1. Special right triangle. Sit tall, stretch up. In fact, even better, stand up. Ready? Inhale. Deep breath, hold. Birthday candle. Close your eyes. Take another deep breath. Inhale. And exhale. This is Unit 5, Right Triangles. Preview video 5.2. Don't forget date, time, and location, friends. Please turn off distractions right now. Before we do the next two lessons, it's very duper important that we review the use of multiplying with radicals. This was our very first lesson. So 5 root 2 times what is 10? We know that has to be another root 2 because root 2 times root 2 is 2. 5 times 2 is 10. So our blank here is going to be root 2. Root 3 times what is 9? We know that has to be 3 root 3 because root 3 times root 3 is 3. And then 3 times 3 is 9. So that complete blank there is 3 root 3. This one's tricky. It's like root 2 times what is 1. So rather than ask yourself what is the whole thing, let's just kind of, well, I know root 2 times root 2 will give me 2. And then if I divide by 2, 2 divided by 2 gives me 1. So the final function box is root 2 over 2. Ready? I'd like you to pause the video and fill these out as fast as you can without a calculator. Pause the video. Okay, welcome back, students. Students, I expect corrections here. So if you get it correct, I expect a star, smiley. If you get something incorrect, I expect you to redo it to understand it. I'm just going to fill out the blanks. This first one is root 2. This is 7 root 3. Root 6 over 6. This is going to be 16 times 3, which is 48. This is going to be 9 times 5, which is 45. You use the Pythagorean theorem with right triangles when you have two sides and you need a third side. Have two sides, need third side, Pythag. Taking a look here, we're going to do this one together. Use the Pythagorean theorem when you have two sides and you need a third side. Have two sides, need third side, Pythag. So in this case, let's label, we have a leg and a leg. And here's our hypo. We have two sides and we need a third side. So what do? Pythag. Which is leg squared plus leg squared equals hypo squared. Ready? Let's circle, plug, chug. Leg, leg. I have x squared, leg, leg. 4 squared equals hypo, hypo, Notice the parentheses, 4 root 2 squared. Exponents, expand. That's 4 root 2 times 4 root 2. Very important that when you have an exponent, you expand it so you don't make mistakes. So right here, 4 times 4 is 16. Root 2 times root 2 is 2. So that's 16 times 2. So I have x squared plus 16 equals 32. X squared equals 16, so square root. And we solve for our x here, and our x equals 4. So notice what we did here. We got 4. Have two sides, need third side, Pythag. However, there is an exception to this. There's two scenarios, and the scenarios are literally called special right triangles. Special right triangles. So if you have a special right triangle, put a star by that because it's special circumstances. It's not just any right triangle. You only need one side. And then you can find two other sides using very special patterns. And then when I say special circumstances, they are only these two circumstances. What's called a 45-45-90 triangle. In other words, it's an isosceles right triangle, 45-45-90. And then a 30-60-90. We're going to be learning patterns connected to these two special triangles. Today's lesson is going to focus on the 45-45-90. The next lesson, 30-60-90. Let's look at these 45-45-90 triangles. And we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem to solve for the unknown side. So in this case, it's going to be leg squared. So that's 4 squared plus leg squared, 4 squared, equals the hypo squared. Factor this down. Four comes out, 2 stays in. So we have a 4, and this is 4 root 2. Let's do one on the right. Again, it's a 45-45-90 triangle. Leg plus leg squared equals the hypo squared. Exponent, expand. Five times 5 is 25. Root 2 times root 2 is 2. So 25 times 2, that's 50. I have x squared equals 50. Square root and factor. A pair of 5s, and the 2 stays inside, so my answer here is 5 root 2. Take a very close look. There's a pattern here. Now this, I'm not going to fill out for you. I want you to fill it out yourself. There's a pattern here. There's one pattern that's associated with the legs. 4 and 4, 5 root 2, 5 root 2. And then there's a second pattern, like a function box, going from the leg to the hypo. 4, 4 root 2, 5 root 2, 10. It's the same pattern. 4 to 4 root 2, 5 root 2, 10. So what I like you to do is answer these two questions in your own words. What do you notice about both legs in both triangles? What do you notice about the pattern, that should be pattern, from a leg to a hypo? Pause the video and write a sentence. Okay, what you should have noticed, there's two patterns going on here. The first pattern is, if I have two equal angles, I have two equal sides. So the first pattern in a 45, 45, 90 is that the legs are always equal. The second pattern is that whatever the leg is, if you times it by root 2, you get the hypo. So 4 times root 2 is 4 root 2. 5 root 2 times root 2 gives you 10. That's the pattern in a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Again, it's right here, and it only works in a 45, 45, 90. That's super important. It's a special circumstance. So here's what's called a 45, 45, 90 table. The legs are equal. So put your little equal sign there. The hypo is whatever the leg is times root 2. Ready? Listen carefully. 45, 45, 90, leg, 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 root 2. Say it with me. 45, 45, 90, leg, 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 root 2. Get a groove on. 45, 45, 90, leg, 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 root 2. You think I'm joking? I want you to clap. And 45, 45, 90, leg, 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 root 2. There's going to be extra credit for those of you who could actually get this to a dance. Hint. Ready? Let's use this pattern. Again, this pattern only works in a 45, 45, 90. Watch very carefully. 45, 45, 90, leg, 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 root 2. You immediately identify the legs and you mark them congruent. And then you draw an arrow from the leg to the hypo, and it's times root 2. Once again, watch what I do. 45, 45, 90, leg, 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 root 2. So in this case, watch carefully. If this leg is 3, guess what this one is? 3. And then we do 3 times root 2, and that gets us, shocking, 3 root 2. Look how hard that is. Ready? We're going to do 2 more. Watch how I mark it. It's very important. Learn to chant and mark at the same time. I'll do it very slow, and then I'll pick it up. 45, 45, 90, leg, 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 root 2. 45, 45, 90, leg, 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 root 2. So take a look here. In this case, we've been given the hypo. So we're asking ourselves this. What times root 2 is 8 root 2? Watch carefully. What times root 2 is 8 root 2? And the answer would be 8. 8 times root 2 is 8 root 2. So if this leg is 8, that leg is also 8. Why? Because it's 45, 45, 90, leg, leg. The legs are equal. 2 equal angles, 2 equal sides. Let's do this one down here. This one gets a little strange. Let's do our markings and our chanting. 45, 45, 90, leg, 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 root 2. So we take a look here, and our legs are equal. The problem is they're both variables. It reads like this. Something times root 2 is 10. Now you can see why we did all those radicals the very first day of school. Something times root 2 is 10. Let's backtrack. You know you need a root 2 to get rid of the radical. Root 2 times root 2 is 2. You ask yourself, what times 2 is 10? The complete answer here is 5 root 2. And since the legs are equal, x is also 5 root 2. This page, you're going to do completely on your own. It'll take you approximately 30 seconds. Restart the video, check your work. Pause. Welcome back. Students, if you're correct, I want a big fat star smiling. If you're not correct, I expect some sort of correction on your paper. So it goes like so. 45, 45, 90, leg, 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 root 2. So if this is 4 root 2, over here, this is also 4 root 2. And then we go to the hypo, 4 root 2 times root 2 in the margin. 4 root 2 times root 2. The x is 8. Down here, 45, 45, 90, leg, 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 root 2. Legs are the same. Problem is you don't have either of them. It reads like this. Something times root 2 is 6. Well, I know I need a root 2. That gets me 2. What times 2 is 6? The answer is 3. Complete answer here was 3 root 2, and this is also 3 root 2. 45, 45, 90, leg, 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 root 2. I'd like you to take 1 minute right now. Go find a family member and take 1 minute and do the chant with them. Go. Get out of your seat. Go.